Hello, this is Grant. Welcome back to another episode of Dead Rising 2 Master Run, where we're going to get all the survivors, kill all the psychopaths, and beat the game from level 1. Alright, so we're just going to get some rewards here from leveling. We have some time before we have to give Katie Zombrex, so I figured the best thing to do is go get some more gifts for her, particularly the rest of these stuffed animals, because they're a little bit annoying to get. You can't put them in your inventory, and they're only in certain spots, so I figured I'd go out and do that. I said in another episode, it's important to get early PP, early experience, because those first few slots and hearts or health blocks really do matter. It's the difference between always running around with food in your inventory and being at 1 health and being able to have just crazy amounts of objects just in case. Especially because once we have to start collecting the gambling books, that's 3 more magazines we need to hold, which if you look like right now would make our inventory entirely full. So we need to get up and get some levels as best we can. You get a bonus when you give Katie all her gifts. Unfortunately, you can't do that until the painter scoop, whichever one that lets you have to buy a painting from some survivor, and then that painting you can give to Katie. So we can't finish this, which is unfortunate. I was hoping we could get all that out and do a nice little bonus. Generally, most of the little environmental stuff isn't worth using the level. Katie's is pretty good because you're usually on your way back, or I'll do certain things that have set bonuses, like the peep shows in that first episode. Individually, 1000 PP isn't worth it, but the 10,000 is. So you can do that. There's a lot of cool little things around, but it's not usually worth doing, like the rides or other attractions, because they can be pretty tough. I will say if you want to earn some money over in Sport Trance, there's a golf minigame, which is pretty easy, and you can reliably win like $10,000. It's just like press A at the right time. It's not too hard. But we're going to head over here to Children's Palace. Let's figure this out. Castle. I wasn't even close. And we got to pick up some more of these stuffed animals, particularly the giant bull. You can actually get every single one of these in Royal Flush Plaza because there's, I believe, 2 or 3 in that store. The donkey's in the store next to it. The robotic bear's across from the entrance to the safe house. And the rabbit is by the sniper rifle up on a hot air balloon with a bunch of dynamite. So, if you've seen me go up there before, it's pretty easy. You can get them all here, but usually I'll just grab the closest one I can find when I'm on my way back to the safe house and bring that in. In my mind, it's one of the better things you can do. So I'm doing it so I can get PP. If you're max level and you have time to kill, I would recommend making combo weapons that you're going to need later. Stuff like the Blambo, knife gloves, or maybe just going out and having fun. Like sometimes I like just doing silly stuff with the zombies or trying on clothes. I think it personally is very important to have your own little outfit that you like and go to. It's not necessary, it doesn't affect the game that much. I actually am kind of annoyed that it affects it at all because there's certain quests where you'll need to have just your boxers. So I have like this awesome setup, and then every time I want to do that quest, it's like, I gotta go put my boxers on, and then I have to go get my setup again, which it's a little annoying. I would love to see a compilation of the best chucks people have made, though. I imagine that could get pretty fun. So, I believe the time scale for Dead Rising 2 works the same as Dead Rising 1, where it's, let me think, what is it, 2 hours is 1 day in-game. I always remember it because there's 14 days survive. It's 7-day survivor is 14 hours in Dead Rising 1. And that's not counting cutscenes, which are a significant part of the game. Back when I was cutting out cutscenes in 1, I kind of wish I had started recording how long the cutscenes were so that at the end of the series I could say, oh, this series took me 10 hours to make and 4 hours were cutscenes or something. Or loading screens. The cutscenes don't advance time either, nor do certain portions of the game like the intro or outro. So that's a little bit neat. Like, it's one of those things where, like, at the end of Dead Rising 1, once you get to kind of like the final boss fight area, technically there is no limit on time. You could just sit around and still get like your 60,000 zombie kills barehanded, but it is there if you somehow realize, oh, maybe I just need 10,000 more kills, and you don't want to go do the whole thing again. That strategy is there. I talked about it in 1. I'm a huge fan of unlocks in these games, particularly that in Dead Rising 1, if you did certain achievements, you would get weapon unlocks and clothing unlocks in the safe room. Now, to be fair, those were always really powerful and stuff that didn't have a place in the main game, like the Mega Buster, which would one-shot bosses, or the Laser Sword, which is essentially a lightsaber. So it makes sense that they're there. But like one thing I would enjoy, especially in this game, is that say if you get 1,000 kills with a weapon, particularly like this very small scale weapons, like if you really want to go to the trouble to get 1,000 kills with a newspaper, then have at you. But have that item spawn inside the safe house. That way it's a little bit more reliable, so you can make the weapons you enjoy, rather than having to go on these really crazy quest hunts. And it doesn't need to be anything crazy. Like you don't need to be like, hey, here, build a paddle saw every single time you leave the room, or man, make a BFG 9000. But other things, like even like there's some weapons that are just fun to use and have around. It'd be nice if they just condensed them. Like a Molotov would be one. Like a Molotov's not that big of a deal. It's one explosion, isn't good for boss fights. It's actually kind of annoying because you're gonna hurt yourself and other survivors, whereas the queens, which are everywhere, don't. But it'd be kind of cool. Like, yeah, I would take one with me every time. They kind of had that in 1 with Paul, the arsonist, but you had to bring him wine, which was also kind of unrealistic. I know they actually changed it in Dead Rising 3, I believe, to be a little bit more craftable on the fly. Like, it's kind of cool what they did with maintenance rooms. It's just too out of the way to really be useful, for me at least. So that's what I'd like, personally. That's what I'd like to see. Or just maybe let the player kind of like buy those spawns, or they can only pick 2 or 3. Enough that you still have to go get weapons on the outside, but that you can still use some of the crazier combo weapons in your day-to-day game. Because for every combo weapon that is terrible and not worth going for, there actually is some that are amazing and worth going for, like the Splambo up here. Really, this is kind of out of the way, and I never go up here because I don't really need sniper rifles that often. But the bow is really great. And you can make it in the food court, too, but since you can make 2 here, it's pretty much always worth, in my mind, it's worth a trip. Plus, you get the sniper rifle here. I'm just going up here to grab the dynamite and the giant stuffed rabbit. I remember I was tempted. I'm just chucking this dynamite because I want to grab the rabbit. I'm having some trouble doing that. I really wanted to see if I could survive jumping from up here all the way down to the first floor. I think you can do it, especially at level 50. Plus, I kind of want like that vertigo effect. I think you can avoid fall damage in this game by doing the elbow drop, kind of like you can do the knee drop in Dead Rising 1. But I haven't actually tested it with anything that's too crazy, because fall damage isn't a huge source of damage in Dead Rising 2. So, I mean, if I really wanted to go up there and test it, I could, but sadly, like Dead Rising 1, there's so many cool tricks that you just don't need in this game. I kind of like the whole gifts for Katie idea. I think out of context, it's a little crazy. That like, is she supposed to take those with her, and what's she gonna do? Besides, she just plays her little off-brand PSP all the time. She doesn't even care about the marbles I got her. Or like, what is she supposed to do with this? Poor Stacy's in like that room all day, locked with a kid that won't talk to her and a bunch of robotic animals that talk to her like non-stop, saying the same phrases. Looking at you robot bear. I've always honestly, like, it'll catch me off guard when I'm in there and I have the volume really low, because the bear will start talking, but it's too low to hear what it says. So I'm like, whoa, is someone there? Then oh no, it was just the bear being like, let's play. So if that happens to you, be warned. The safe house is actually such a confusing place. There's a couple times you need to go like way back into it to talk to survivors. But I always get lost. It makes like a giant loop, but since it doesn't have a map, I don't think it's not part of the main map you have. It's easy to get lost, plus it's all like going down and is this another room or is it a hallway? It's hard for me to figure out. Plus there's no reason to. Like if there was like a battle axe somewhere you could grab, maybe I would do it. But to my knowledge there's not. There was a rumor that one of the slot machines in the safe house had higher chances than in any other slot machine, but I don't think that was confirmed. I like rumors like that though. I wish that was still a thing. I think back all the stories I hear of people who played like Pokemon when they're really young, and they like the one kid who's like, my uncle works for Nintendo. He says you can get Cloud Strife as a Pokemon if you do this like really convoluted, questionable like sequence of events, or you can get a Mew. I believe there's a big, really interesting story that spread kind of virally before the internet about how to unlock a Mew in the first gen versions of the game. And it wasn't true. Like, at least not that one. There actually was a glitch that lets you spawn any arbitrary Pokemon, but it was all about you had to use like a one Pokemon move to move a truck. And then like so many kids I'm sure tried to do it, and no, it wasn't a thing. Alright, so we're gonna go here. We're gonna do industrial fashion, which is these two construction workers in the South Plaza, and one of them is injured, so she needs to be helped. But actually, with the leadership book, you don't need to worry about her at all. Like, normally you would need to carry her, or she would walk really slow, but that book's gonna take care of us. We're gonna go back out to the strip then, and swing up to the rock concert, where we got some survivors who are playing a concert, thinking all the zombies are ravers. They're pretty easy ghost survivors. Construction workers handle themselves. The rock guys start with good weapons anyway. So I am not too concerned. As you can see, this Blambo makes excellent work. Huh. That guy's trying to hang out over there. It's such a fun weapon. I really wish there was a magazine that upped your ammunition with certain weapons. Because there's some weapons I would like to keep around, but they're just too inefficient. Things like the handgun. That's actually not that bad of a weapon in this game. And I'd like if you could unlock like upgrades where like say instead of 30 shots, give me 45. Because I would carry it around. It's nice having a gun on you for like propane tanks or certain psychopath fights. But I could see why they don't want it to be too crazy because that thing's everywhere. For that specific instance, you can't unlock the 6-shooter, which is a better version of it, but my point stands. I would love to see more of like a upgrade system to different weapons and unlocks. I think it would help prolong the game's life, where it's a cool sandbox game, but you kind of beat the story and then you play once again and you beat like maybe some side modes, like make sure you go save everyone you haven't before or do achievements. But in my mind, you quickly just kind of are just done with this game. They have Terror's Reality, but that kind of fell off after release. No one's really on it anymore. You can occasionally get some people, and are people who are up to do co-op. I would love to do a co-op run. I've never had a good experience with co-op in Dead Rising 2. But it could be so cool. I really wanted like to have random people join me in this little quest here, but I'm always afraid that they'll go on a killing spree and kill my survivors, and I'd have to reboot to my last save, and it'd just be terrible. It's too bad. If any of you guys are Dead Rising 2 fans and want to help me out, hit me up. We could do some really fun stuff. Like I said, I want to do some streams where I go through and play in a cool way, like try and beat the game without any zombie kills. I could totally use your guys' help on that. So South Plaza is really hard to navigate in my mind because it's so samey. It's all just like scaffolding, blue colors, and like random statues. Whereas I think like Royal Flush is really easy to navigate because you have so many unique stores and it has a nice little shape. South Plaza I just get lost in. Which, I mean, to be honest, when I first started filming like Dead Rising 2 again, I got lost everywhere. It was so confusing. Like, I always have this debate whenever I start Dead Rising game. Like, okay, how is it in this game? There's an arrow on the map. Is that where Chuck's pointing or where my camera is pointing? And I always forget I always forget that. I think it happens a couple times now even. And that's after me having played the game like 3 times in a row over the course of like 2 weeks. So here I think I just need to get her down, but yeah, you can see she actually can just walk fine. I do like carrying them anyway though, because you can just like shrug off zombies when they're holding on to you. But as you can see, we got that rock opera's hero's quest. I've been watching BoJack Horseman, and there's a rock opera scene in there, so I think that's where that came from. Stacy calls you like every day at like what 3 a.m. to remind you that you need to get Zombrex for Katie. I find it annoying because I know what I'm doing, but I'm sure there's plenty of other people who don't. Like, oh right, that's a thing. I need to get Zombrex. And if you are not doing the main cases, it's easy to forget to go get Katie Zombrex because you're ignoring every other call about, oh, you need to stop TK, save Fortune City, and all that jazz. Whenever I carry her, I always get like a Willy Wonka vibe from the name. Willa and Terry. I don't know what were working on. I guess they just showed up to work late and like, oh, zombies. They never really are clear in this game. Where are these survivors coming from? Like, day 4, you're finding a survivor who I guess was just doing who knows what the last 4 days, didn't notice the zombie apocalypse. It's crazy. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm sure that's something you just need to look to side of, because they need that to make it work, right? I know it would be cool if you had just kind of some other factions or groups working as the game progressed, and you could kind of either, I don't know, maybe help or hinder them, or maybe they're survivors that you're meant to save at a certain time, but it is possible to catch them at other times. Like maybe something where, say, you see them every day, there's 4 survivors, and every day they lose another. But the first time, maybe they don't want to like join you, so you have to fight them, and it's a very tough fight to convince them to join you. But if you do, you get all 4. Well, 3rd day, maybe 1 dies, so there's only 3, and they're a little bit more willing to go with you. Or like by day 4, there's only 1 left, and you just have to save them from something. So you can kind of choose your battles. I'd vote for like a harder Dead Rising in terms of time management. But to make that reliable, you would need a in-game system of knowing when scoops are going to appear. Because you need to plan out like where you're going in a day. You don't want to get all the way to like the farthest end on the map and then realize, oh wait, I just got a very important scoop way back in Royal Flush Plaza. I gotta go do that first. So yeah, we're just gonna go pick up these. You just need to talk to Gianna here. The other guys will just kind of brush you off. This area has really good weapons. The guitars are great. You can make this combo card you're gonna get from one of these guys, which is an amplifier and a guitar. It knocks down zombies. There's also a chainsaw up on the very top of this little scaffolding structure. Alright, I'm just checking out my time, see what I got left and what time I need to be places. I believe I end up just taking these guys back because there's nothing else that's coming up. So I can just take them back, get them off my case, and then hang out while Katie needs to... Well, I need to wait for Katie to have Zombrex time. They're really picky. You only can give it to her from 7 to 8. Like, 6:59? No. No go. It would be convenient if they gave you a wait option in this game. I would enjoy that a lot, particularly when you're doing stuff where you say, I know for one of the achievements it's like fire all guns or something, and there's one gun you only can get by combining a gun at the very end of the game with an amplifier. It's like the BFG 9000 or something, which it's a very good gun, but that means I'd have to play the entire game again just to get that. well, I know I don't need to do anything else besides the scoops. It'd be cool if I could just be like, wait until next scoop. Or even just like something where you have like double time or something, or you can waste time. Like every time you do X action, you lose an hour or something. Some nice little thing to speed it up. It would make it a little bit simpler, because I do find that whenever I'm doing some small stuff like that, there is a lot of downtime where it's just, well, I'm going to cut out and I'll be back in an hour. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, check out one of the links below. Till next time, don't take your zombie safety for granted.